So sat in this 2005 Porsche Carrera GT, it's very hard to believe it's just 10 years between this and the 918 Spider. You look around you and the car is so simple. Obviously we've got this magic laminate wood gear knob which harks back to Porsche sports prototypes, the 70s 917s and the like, but the whole car is built with the same ethos as that. It uses the best modern materials, but it applies it to deliver what is one of the best analog driving experiences you can have. You have to remember this car was launched at a time of almost unprecedented activity right at the top end of the supercar market. So Pagani were bringing out Zondas left, right and centre, had a Ford GT and the McLaren Mercedes SLR, so all very different cars but all aimed at broadly similar people. What set this car apart from all of those is the 5.7 litre V10 engine behind me. We can actually thank an aborted motorsport programme that donated that engine. Porsche was working on a new Le Mans sports prototype, and during the course of its development the rules changed, so it was obsolete, but rather than just push the engine to one side and move on, Porsche felt they had to do something with it. So from that they developed this motor, and it's just a sensational thing to use. Just over 600 horsepower, revs to over 8,000 RPM. It sounds like nothing else. It just has so much performance right the way through the rev range. It loves to rev, but it pulls so smoothly from 3,000-4,000 revs right the way through to 8,200. Oh, it's such an exciting car, and because you're completely in control of it through the clutch and gear stick, it just connects you on a much deeper level than something like an Enzo, say, which was also launched around the time of this car, and that was a much more state-of-the-art car in a sense, with paddle shift transmission. So when Porsche built this car in 2004, 2005, it was really, really cutting-edge technology in the carbon tub, and particularly the carbon subframe that cradles that V10 engine. With a hollow structure of the cradle is really very special. I think it was the first time that anyone had ever done that. In fact, I can remember being at a motor show where this car was on display, and I could see Orazio Pagani, who is the godfather of carbon fibre, and he was really impressed with the whole car, but that in particular kind of blew his mind, I think. So that's a mark of the effort that Porsche put into this car. It weighs 1,250 kilos, so with a little over 605 horsepower, it's comfortably a 200 mile an hour car. Unfortunately, we can't test that today, although we're at the wide open expanses of Bruntingthorpe. We need to be a little bit respectful of the fact that this car is up for auction in just a few days' time at RM Sotheby's London auction on the 7th of September. In fact, if you come back to Evo on the afternoon and evening of the 7th, you'll be able to watch the auction happen live, so you'll be able to see whether this car finds a very lucky buyer. Like the engine, a lot of the rest of the car borrows heavily from race car thinking, so the suspension's wishbone all round with inboard dampers at each corner. We've got carbon ceramic brakes with monoblock calipers, 8-piston at the front, so huge stopping power to go with the straight line performance.
Porsche originally intended to complete a run of 1,500 Carrera GTs, but ultimately fell short of that number with a total of 1,270 cars built. Originally supplied new to a collection in Germany where it was never driven, it has since covered just 3,500 kilometres and is expected to sell for around £650,000.
It's been a little while since I've been lucky enough to drive a Carrera GT, and you forget the little details that set it apart. much of it is familiar. If you've ever been in a 996 or 997 Porsche, you will totally recognise the instruments and much of the switchgear. But in any other respect, it's totally alien to anything Porsche have done, with a carbon tub. There are so many special things about this car, but I think it's the way they all come together to create the driving experience that really sets this apart from other supercars of the era and other supercars that Porsche have done. The 918 is this car's successor, but it's a totally different driving experience, which is all about technology. This car is all about tradition in a way, and a tradition of tactility and involvement and engagement, and for that, Porsche, we have to salute you.
Click on the links to watch other Evo Icon films. And don't forget to come back at 5 PM GMT on September the 7th to see live coverage of RM Sotheby's London auction.